And joining us for the second time on Hole Inspector, Emalynde, my very sweet friend. If you could introduce yourself, say a little bit about what you do, where they can find you, pronouns, and your favorite food, I guess.
Can I do my favorite drow?
Your favorite drow?
Yeah.
Is it drow food?
I can probably give you some drow food.
Yeah, you can do favorite drow. You can do favorite drow.
Oh, and I'll do drow food just to.
Kristen says a buy stream with Emalynde is very buy. Thank you.
Yay! Hi, my name's Emalynde. You can also call me Emma. I go by she, her. I am a TTRPG player, predominantly Vampire the Masquerade and D&D, and I love to bring that energy into the games we're playing. We're doing Baldur's Gate 3 right now. I am playing literally my actual D&D character from my Out of the Abyss campaign. Whoa, she's a trickster cleric of Elistray, drow baby girl from Menzo Branson. She has a very storied history, and I love bringing in her anecdotes, my knowledge of the lore, so we can pick apart all the cute little D&D references in Baldur's Gate. My favorite drow is Jarlaxle Bainray.
Oh, Jarlaxle, daddy.
I love that man. And my favorite
Jarlaxle.
drow food, they have like a porridgey stuff that's mashed potato-y, but not quite. That's my favorite. Favorite Vampire the Masquerade clan? Baby, I'm a Toreador. I just got back from the Darkness Emergent LARP, where I won. I got elected Hot Girl of the Hot Girl faction. I'm not joking. They literally came up to us and they said, "Who is the best dressed?" And they pointed at me. The faction
Beautiful.
pointed at me.
Beautiful.
And I took that manila folder and I proceeded to lead these people to victory. Of course.
Anyway, okay, let's get into some stuff. I'm opening the Dickie for our first hole for inspection. Emma is going to read our first one. I'm so sorry in advance. Hit us with that title, Emma.
My pregnant wife's sister offered to sleep with me.
That's all you get. That's the whole title. Pregnant wife's sister offered to sleep with me.
My wife, 24F, and I, 24M, have been together for 3 years and married for about 6 months now. We found out that we're going to be parents and we're both very excited. We told our families over the weekend and everyone was happy for us. This morning, I got a text from my wife's sister, 21F, saying that she knows that women can get emotionally and physically abusive and can put a stop to intimacy during pregnancy, and that she is willing to help me out anytime sexually or emotionally during and after the pregnancy. Obviously, I have no interest in anyone other than my wife, but how do I tell her what her sister offered? You show her the text message, baby. My wife has always been there for her sister, and they have always been super close. Ooh. Her sister was the maid of honor at our wedding. Ooh. And I don't want my wife to lose that bond, and it would destroy her if she found out that her sister was willing to betray her like that. At the same time, her sister is a snake and is willing to ruin our marriage and the life of her soon-to-be nephew or niece for what I'm guessing is a childish crush on me. This person's being very mature for this, which I'm proud of them for.
Right.
My first priority is my wife and unborn child, and anyone else can go to hell. How do I approach this situation? There's literally no good outcome. Or I can tell my wife tonight. She'll be absolutely devastated, though. I will always be there for her, and I know her parents will be on her side, but losing a 20-year bond with her own sibling while in such a vulnerable state sounds terrible. How can I possibly tell my wife that the sister she loved and looked after for so many years wants to sleep with her husband while she's pregnant? If I don't tell her soon and tell her later, she may lose her trust in me. Very good, very valid. If I don't tell her at all, my wife will be close with someone who clearly does not care for her and could easily betray her again in the future. Jesus Christ.
That's a heavy hole.
I feel for the wife because she's gonna have a very bad day.
Yeah.
But I feel like the choice on this is very, very easy.
I'm pretty much the same way. Like you gotta tell your wife, right?
Oh, 100%.
Like
ASAP.
that. Yeah. Any reasonable person would say, yeah, I need to tell my wife ASAP. The fact that OP has any pause at all is a little sus to me. So I'm like,
it was more like I want to spare her feelings is what I got out of it. Yeah, that it's blah, 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 but doing so while in such a vulnerable state sounds terrible. That he knows this is going to upset her and he feels bad for being the bearer of bad news. I don't think he feels culpable, obviously, but it's like, wow, my wife is going to be so broken up over this, and justifiably so, but I don't want her to feel bad, period. But clearly this has to happen.
That's how I read it too. Like, Seabass said, I feel like I would have instantly been like, babe, and handed her the phone. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Same. This is not to knock any, like, people who are, like, polyamorous, polygamous, whatever. There are ways to do that consensually and ethically. This ain't it. But it doesn't sound like the sister has any sort of good motives in mind at all. Just trying to, like, break them up and cause drama. Let me see if there's anything else by OP.
The top comment is, sorry, dude, you have to tell your wife tonight. Otherwise, sister-in-law is going to try to twist and make it look like this is your idea. And the key is show your wife the text, all caps. It's proof that your wife's sister was hitting on you, not the other way around. It will show your wife that you are not hiding anything and not attempting to hide. I don't think you can avoid hurting your wife in this situation, but you can at least try to minimize the hurt by being open with her.
Right.
And if she asks why you didn't show her the text as soon as you read it, which he should have done, tell her the truth. You didn't know how to handle it. You didn't want to hurt her or worry her.
Right.
Keep this in mind going forward. As a general rule, not a specific one, most of the pain inflicted by this kind of situation will be spared by partners trusting each other to be open with them about anything. Think about that.
Real.
How would you feel if 5 or 10 years from now you found out that your best friend was repeatedly making passes at your wife? And even if he wasn't doing it anymore, would that make any difference to the way you felt about her?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
10,000%.
100%. 100%.
It sounds like he's not going to act on it and is going to tell his wife eventually. So I'm leaning towards not the asshole, but also, like, I would like the confirmation there to know for sure we don't really have enough information.
I feel like the reason he's not back is because he got the information that he wanted, which was the reassurance that, yeah, dude, fucking show this to your wife literally 3 minutes ago. And he did that and is now dealing with the fallout. Because I feel like a lot of the time when people post these things on here, they're just needing that bit of confirmation, and then they don't come back because they got what they needed.
How did you feel about this post? Did we want to do this one, or did you go to a different one? Oh no, it's my turn. Yeah, but I'm gonna send you the post.
I did not read into it. I took psychic damage from the title.
Good. Psychic damage from the title is what we're going for. Sick.
Okay.
Am I the asshole for approaching women at the bar while my wife was talking to another man? My wife, 35M, and I, 36M, went to a bar last weekend for some drinks and dancing. When we got inside, I told my wife I needed to use the restroom and gave her some cash to go buy us some drinks. After I used the restroom, I find her at the bar with our drinks and she is chatting with another man. I have no issues with this. Are you sure about that? Your title is, I'm gonna go talk to other women while my wife is talking to a man, because I don't have a problem with it. I'm fine. It doesn't bother me. I approached my wife, grabbed my drink, and tried to join in on the conversation. It felt so awkward standing there as this guy had no idea who I was, and my wife didn't introduce me. So I stuck out my hand to introduce myself as her husband, and the guy just blankly stares at me and gave me a limped wrist handshake. My wife and the guy continued their conversation, discussing their favorite bars in the neighborhood. I felt like a third wheel here, and it felt like my voice was being ignored. I decided to leave those two to talk, and I approached two women also sitting across the bar to make friendly conversation. The one was wearing a band t-shirt of one of my favorite bands, so we were talking about that. My wife saw this and began giving me the death stare. She then left the guy at the bar and pulled me away from these two women. It was quite awkward. My wife and I discussed what happened. I explained that I felt like a third wheel with her and the guy at the bar. They were ignoring the things that I said, and she didn't even introduce me when I came up to them. I wanted to have some fun conversing with some new people like she was doing, which is why I started talking to 2 women at the bar. I told my wife that her speaking with that guy and me speaking with these women was the same situation, except she did not even try to join the conversation that I was in. It's not like we were discussing anything inappropriate. Literally just music, specifically the band the woman was wearing the t-shirt of. We have discussed this at length, and she claims that they are totally different situations because I had to approach those women where she was already seated and the guy approached her. I'm over the situation, ready to move on, but my wife cannot let it go and has been giving me the cold shoulder since that night. So Reddit, am I the asshole in this situation? If we take this post by rote, completely letter of the law, no, you're not the asshole. This is the same situation. However, I don't think we have necessarily a reliable narrator here.
Yeah, the situation is not the same. He left her, gave her a task to go get drinks at the bar. She did so. She waits for him at the bar. She's approached by someone while waiting for him at the bar. As a woman, a lot of the time, it might be an unsafe situation for her to be like, fuck off, dude. We don't know how intoxicated this man is. We don't know anything about the context of the situation. So she might just be trying to ride it out and wait for husband to return. And husband does return, realizes he's not the center of attention and he's not in control of this present exchange. And so fucks off to a situation where he can be.
There's a comment, they did ask who I was here with, and I pointed at my wife across the bar. They knew I was married. There's a lot of, am I allowed to talk to whomever I want as well, or just my wife? A comment by OP.
He's really missing what's going on here.
Yeah, the more I read OP's responses, the more I'm like, yeah, this guy sounds like a prick. I guess I should have been more direct and stood between them, so she would have no choice but to acknowledge me.
Oh my God, calm down.
Am I not allowed to seek out others to have a conversation with, especially when I know they have a similar interest as me already? Does it only have to be of the same gender?
Ew. Put him in the trash.
Weird assumption that I got pissy when I introduced myself. I smiled, shook the guy's hand, and said, "Hi, I am Many Major 2827 so-and-so husband," which got me blank stares. Maybe the guy was intimidated by me as I am quite bigger than him. I get the whole defense mechanism thing, but can you explain why my wife failed to introduce me? I was standing next to her for almost a minute. Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
Literally less than 60 seconds, almost a minute, and I had to introduce myself. If she got bad vibes from the guy, she could have used me as a way out. Also, why she failed to include me in the conversation, we were sitting at the bar 3 in a row, my wife in the middle, and she had her back turned towards me.
It's hard to hear people at the bar. You're probably facing the person who's talking.
My woman did not respect me as a man for 60 seconds as the alpha in our relationship. She didn't acknowledge me, and that made me feel like a little tiny little piss baby piss boy. So I went to go talk to some women to show my woman that I'm the man.
Piss baby piss boy. I love it. Okay. Let me know when you want me to read the title.
I will start the Dickie right now. It's so fucking vague. I apologize in advance. Dickie has started. Hit us.
Am I the asshole for trying to help a friend of a friend feel better? No context.
No context.
None.
That's it.
It all started when someone in my 20 male D&D group, we'll call her Megan, 28F, said she was feeling burnt out by the game and wanted to run a one-shot of Vampire the Masquerade.
There it is.
Me and some others agreed, and she also invited some of her own friends too. We're an online group, by the way. One of the friends she invited we'll call Ari, F. After a few days of joining the server, some of us were chatting when the conversation ended up with the topic of Ari's life and how the people in her past instilled a serious insecurity in her of feeling like she's a waste of space. I decided to try and help her feel better by comparing her to me. in a, hey, compared to me, you look amazing kind of way. But I ended up saying this. Oh no. At least the people in your life cared enough about you to say that.
Ooh, no.
Excuse
Oh,
me?
oh, so bad. Your trauma isn't as bad as my trauma. Actually?
Almost immediately after I sent that, I realized it sounded a lot worse than it did in my head. I apologized, but I'm not sure it did anything as Ari started apologizing to everyone in the server for being a waste of space. Megan started chewing me out in the DMs. I apologized to her as well as explained myself. Megan said she understood, but also didn't want me in the game anymore because I was making Ari uncomfortable. I happily agreed and also offered to delete all my messages from the server and started doing that. She told me that wasn't necessary and just kicked me out. This didn't end our friendship, thankfully, but I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. So, Reddit, am I the asshole?
I agree with the Reddit flare here.
What is a Reddit flare? Everyone sucks?
Everyone sucks here, yeah.
Why does everyone suck?
Obviously, OP sucks the most here, but then it sounds like Ari was making it everyone else's responsibility for her own emotions, for shit that she needs to deal with. Apologizing in the group chat for being a waste of space feels really manipulative to me.
It's hard because I've absolutely known people to do stuff like that, but we're also getting the narration from a guy who thought saying what he said was a good idea.
Right.
At least the people in your life cared enough about you to say that you're a waste of space. Excuse me?
Oh yeah, I am not arguing that OP is better than anyone in the story. OP sucks the most, period, end of story. OP is an asshole for that comment. That is way out of line. But Ari's also not necessarily great here. The way that I'm reading it, it doesn't feel like an unreliable narrator situation. Because the fact that this stuff came up in a group chat with new people, like friend of a friend sort of situation, it feels pity party to me. Like, everyone should pity me, everyone should comfort me, everyone should make my emotions their problem.
I can definitely see a reality where that is the case.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people who unpack shit like that online who are younger and just kind of want the attention from that, and who kind of like shock and awe and trauma dump for that sort of attention.
Right.
But while I can definitely see how that can be like one of the scenarios that are happening, because of course we're not getting enough context, it's also like, it was really shitty what he said, and if she's already like confiding in a group of people, I can 100% see somebody be like, oh yeah, I'm really sorry. And that may have been what she said, instead of him trying to make himself seem more reasonable and say, just started apologizing to everyone in the server for being a waste of space. It's hard because we're like very much, at least in my mind, on the middle of the tightrope where it could be one or the other. And that's hard. For me, I think it's, if Megan was like, dude, and kicked him out, and she's 28, so, and he didn't realize that what he said wasn't great, it leads me to believe that he's just putting his foot in his mouth and being an absolute bumbus.
Right.
Even though his intentions weren't bad, sometimes you don't have to have bad intentions to hurt somebody's feelings.
Oh, right,
and to
absolutely.
say something really unkind.
Like the way he phrased it again, hey, compared to me, you look amazing, is still like, no, my trauma is still worse.
Exactly, it's still shit tier.
It's, like, just keep that to yourself.
And so
people's trauma is not a competition.
Yeah, exactly. It's the framing for me that lets me know he's really emotionally immature. And the fact that he got kicked out leads me to believe that he's probably a bigger problem than he realizes.
Honestly,
and that this might not be the first time that something like this has happened.
Right. It does kind of feel like everyone in this friend group just needs to go to therapy. Everyone needs therapy.
Don't get me wrong. Everybody always needs therapy. 100%. But that's why I'm not like, oh my god, she's so immature or whatever.
Yeah.
Because a lot of in the comments they're like, ugh, she's just like, I'm worried about her ability to handle real life. Dude, nobody's talking about that. You need to sit down, dime a dozen man from wish.com.
Yeah, the fucking top comment is here seriously, it was an honest mistake. No, shut the fuck up. Even the comeback and the rephrasing that they put in the Am I the Asshole post, it still sucks.
Bad.
You don't do that. I love the balls room. It's my favorite room to be in. I love counting all of the balls. I love rubbing balls